last week we have some third world countries happening stuff. So I'm going to ask first one. Why don't we start with Zhen Yiping? Yeah, what happened over the weekend? There was a very important country having election, and this country also was the topic of the film that won the best film Oscar last night. Okay, which country? Which movie won the best director and best movie, best film? Okay, then obviously you're not interested in entertainment, but then how about the news? Which country have a election? You know, you can actually vote in the United States for this country's election. We call absentee ballot. What is absentee ballot? Which in Taiwan we are considering absentee ballot. But you know, do you know absentee ballot? What is it? For people who do not, they have some reasons they cannot go back to their hometown to vote. You know why we cannot have this in Taiwan? Yeah, we can. We don't have that, right? You have to go back to your household of registration to vote. Why? Like, where's your hometown? Taoyuan. Okay, not too far, so you can go back. But if you have some classmates who live in Kaohsiung, now, are they going to go back or not? They have to go back. Wow, costs a lot, right? So why don't we have an absentee ballot so you can vote in Hsinchu for the mayor of Kaohsiung? Why not? But then, you can say, okay, I'm going to tell you I'm going to vote, right? And then I receive the ballot, I call in advance. So then I mail back. People worry a lot of fraud. Like I mentioned to you about Africa, when I went to, observe election, a lot of problems. We call rigged election. Rigged elections. So people worry about that. And also people said, wow, what happened if you have absentee ballot? Everyone can vote. Does that mean all the Taiwan businessmen in China who have been brainwashed by Wen Jiabao and Hu Jintao also going to vote for Taiwan's election? We don't trust that, right? But the biggest opposition is your parents. Parents said, I have taken the money. You have to come back to vote. Okay? I have students whose mother took $500 in Jiayi, and she promised her son will come back to vote. I said, how much is the transportation cost? $1,000. I said, why? Why you have to take that $500? You're going to spend $1,000 as transportation cost to vote. He said, my mother said they actually respect us. That's the reason they bribe us. If they don't respect us, they don't even bribe us. They trust us, right? Okay, so that's maybe one reason. But I think the biggest reason is your parents want you to come home, because usually you don't go home, right? Usually, 3 days, I'd rather stay in Taipei or in Taichung with my boyfriend, not going back. So parents are all against absentee ballots in Taiwan, because that's one little opportunity for them to see their kids. Okay? So this country having an election, we haven't got the answer yet. Where is that country? Okay, they had an election in 2005, but was supervised by outside forces. This country was occupied for a while. Okay, next one, let's try. Yang Wenting. Yeah, which country? Iraq. Okay, you know, Oscar, Hollywood always like to support third world country. So Hollywood know that they're having a parliamentary election. They gave the best film, movie, and best director to the, you know, the movie about Iraq, right? So that's Iraq. We have one. And also, there is another one, country having problem, a third world country here, having problem with this little island called Malvina, Falkland Island. So which country is having problem with Falkland Island? Let's try Liu Shuhong. Yeah. Malvina here. Also called Falkland Island, but in Spanish it's called Malvinas. Okay, where is it closer to? Argentina. Okay, so, but this island does not belong to Argentina. Belongs to Great Britain. Okay, they fought a war before you were born in 1982. Okay, and Great Britain won the war, and now it's still in dispute. Okay, who owned this island? Because Great Britain said we took it over in 1833, and most of the people here are British. Right? But Argentina said, wait a second, you know, we inherit this island from Spain, so we should be here. Now, again, Hollywood knew that, you know, in support of Argentina this year, because Great Britain is drilling or exploring for oil here, and Argentina very much against that. So Argentina had all the Latin American countries supporting it, saying Great Britain should stop, and Great Britain said no. Hollywood again support Argentina yet last night, right? Or the night before. By what? You don't, I know Tsinghua students do not care about Oscar. What happened? The best foreign film was a film made in Argentina. Okay, Hollywood is very political. Okay, just remember that. Hollywood is very political. And then now they're having problems. So we're going to please follow this year during the summertime. We will have a World Cup. Argentina is going to play Great Britain somehow. I don't know how, but they're going to play, and there will be problem. So this is again something with we call sovereignty issue, with identity issue in the third world. People believe in this kind of colonial problem that separate their traditional territory from the other. Okay, so that's Argentina. So we have one more big questions. I think I should ask. Ye Teng Hui. Yeah. Okay. Question about Middle East. Okay. In addition to Iraq, there is a possibility for peace. So peace in Iraq is important. What other places peace will be very important? Peace. All the Miss America want. I pray that there will be peace. Right? You watch all the Miss Universe, Miss International. They all wanted to have peace. So where we do not have peace. Iran itself having problem with the outside world, right? Because of nuclear weapons. But what's the other country that inside having some problem? Always having problem. One country, 2 states. Wow. 一国两制啊，不是 Yeah, it's almost Israel and people say, oh, Pakistan. No, not Pakistan. Palestine. Okay, Israel and Palestine. And you know the most interesting thing about Israel is Israel sent people to live in the Palestinian area. We call the word settlement. Settlement. They settle in, the Palestinian area. They are supposed not to build any new apartment because this is not your land. But they have existing apartments. They said, oh, the structure are in danger. It's very not safe. So they're building new apartment to pop up the other structures. Is that a good excuse? So, it's like Jiaoda having some buildings inside Tsinghua, right? Tsinghua said, stop, you cannot build. Jiaoda said, no, wait a second, those are very dangerous buildings, so we're going to build more to support them so that they will not fall. Okay, so this is what happened in Israel. They are having, we call peace possibility, we call a peace talk, proxy talk, indirect talk. They're going to talk about this. So again, another issue of nation building and then, coming out of colonial time, having trouble with the territory. Okay, I'm hoping that this one will read. Okay, I'm not going to. So those are the 3 countries having problem in the last week. I can also show you another country here. Here, somewhere here. Okay, this country last year. President want to extend his term and being forced out by military coup and new election. Okay, Ong Ying-zhi. Okay, do you know there is a country that our president was about to visit? Wow, military coup. So he changed his plan. Honduras, right? Honduras, last year, the left-wing president wanted to extend his term to change the constitution, so military coup forced him out. And then, of course, because he's left-wing, so all the left-wing presidents in Latin America are not very happy, saying this must be what? CIA's work. Every time you saw someone from Latin America being forced out, must be Americans. Americans do not like left-wing president. So they are very much against this, but later, when he was able to return, his term is over. It's like, he only has several months left, and he wanted to extend his term, so they threw him out. So when he returned, oh, I'm sorry, your term is up, new election. So new election, a conservative, a right-wing won the election. America very happy. But other Latin American countries said, no, we're not going to recognize this. This is not a legitimate one. So Honduras having problem. So Hillary Clinton visits Central America, going to Guatemala and say, hey, please, new government already established. What do we call in Chinese? The raw rice has been cooked. Okay, so please recognize this new government. And then we have Venezuela, we have Nicaragua, all those left-wing governments said, no, this is American creation. Okay, so we have, again, this is the extension. Extension here, Honduras. Another country, Colombia, last week we mentioned the president stepped down, right, after failing to extend his term. So, always a good question to ask yourself, is it good to have good president, only serving 2 terms? What a waste, we have university usually have president serving 2 terms, am I right? I know you have problem with your president last. You won't allow him to serve the 2nd term in Tsinghua. In Zhengda, we voted for our president to have 2nd term. And there is a 3rd term president of the university, Li Qing'en. Do you know which university has a president who served 9 years, 3 years, 3 years, 3 years? Yeah, 台大。the 陈维昭 okay, the one before Li Shichen, okay, he served 3 terms. So, hey, why do you want to prevent a capable person serving a 3rd term? Okay, that's a good question for a lot of countries in Latin America. Latin America worry about dictator, usually 1 term. Okay, 1 term you miss some good people. And now some people serve 2 terms, like Colombia. The president, Uribe, was very nice. And then people said, no, Supreme Court said you cannot do that. So that's almost like depriving people, good people, to serve. America, one time, was very kind of upset with themselves because they don't want people to serve more than 2 terms after World War II. Okay, so they changed the Constitution, and then, wow, a popular Ronald Reagan. So the Republicans said, hey, we changed that to prevent a popular Democrat to serve more than 2 terms. But then we have 1, right? Ronald Reagan. But Ronald Reagan became president at the age of 69. When he stepped down, 77. That's already old. And people said the last 2 years, he cannot remember a lot of things. Okay? He liked to watch cartoon or something. We don't know. But anyway, he was popular, but he was old. Then 12 years later, you have Clinton finishing his 2 terms. And people said, Clinton, such a handsome, young, capable person. And then after serving 2 terms, he was riding the bike in the White House because he's waiting to finish his term. No more. That's a pity. Right? So is that good for democracy or not? Think about it. Okay, that's part of the 3rd world issue. Okay, let me draw the map here so that we can. Okay. Since you do your homework, Wu Bosen, yeah, what's the difference between a nation and a state? What is a nation? 国际牌 national nation is a country, and state is also a country. The same race. We call nation state. But what is a nation? Okay, it's easier. Nation in Chinese is difficult sometimes. But nation, think of nationalism. What is nationalism? Nationalism, part of the Sun Yat-sen's 3, principle for the people. Do you remember the 3 principles for the people? I know you're not being tested right now. Wow! Look, become 民有民治民享. Our Sun Yat-sen. Very close. I think that's of the people, by the people, for the people, right? But that would be Lincoln, though. That's American, okay. But Sun Yat-sen, what is it? 三民主义, 哪三民? You have no idea. Wow. Okay, do you live in Taipei?
No.
No, okay, no wonder, huh? If you live in Taipei, at least you should know, right? Okay, let's try. Qiu Guanqun. Yeah, what is Sun Yat-sen's 3 principle for the people? 民 民有名字名享. Wow, that's Lincoln. Okay, that's that's of the people, by the people, for the people. Do you live in Taipei? Okay. Do you know in Taipei we have, by the airport, there are 3 三民路. Oh, what is it? 民权, 民生, 民生东, 民生西路. What's that? 民族. Okay, so, wow. I didn't realize that those 3 principles already being cast out. 民族, 民权, 民生. Right? Okay, 民族 English is we call nationalism. 民权 is democracy. 民生, people say people's livelihood or socialism. Okay, either one. Okay, but 民族主义 is nationalism. So nationalism, 民族, nation, 民族. Nation is not country only. Every time when we refer to a nation, like 新兴民族, Xu Xingliang used to write a book. It's about the new Taiwan people. It's about the race. It's about a group of people we call nation. A state is a country. So what do we have here? Nation state. Nation state is a country that is established by one people. Where does this come from originally? How many of you study your high school history book about the 15th century in Europe? Some of the country we call 民族国家. So what is it? Give me one example. 廖宇群, 请. Yeah. 民族国家, yeah. If you from your high school, history, Western history. Before, right, medieval time, we only have Holy Roman Empire. We only have some of those. We don't have a nation state, one group of people establishing one country. But that's by the end of the medieval time, we have this, by the end of Middle Age, right? This come out. Can you give me example? At the time, those are also the first country coming out, become the colonial power, exploring the world. United Kingdom, but hey, united, that's not nation state. United means almost like you have so many others, right? In United States, I don't think people consider it a colonial power. It's a neo-colonial, new colonial power. But before United States, United itself was a colony. Okay, United Kingdom, but we don't call United Kingdom at the time, we call what? England, right? France, England, Spain. Okay, so those originally we call nation state, right? Even though in Spain it's no longer true. Because in Spain, you have one group of minority. They want to have their own country. What is it? How many of you heard of this Basque people? Okay, which spread Spain and France. Okay, you have Basque, and also here you have Catalonians. They are different. They have different dialect. So nowadays, can we find a country that all the people are almost like one? Can we find that kind of country? That one people, one nation, one country, one nation, one state. Can we think of any? 苏厚明在哪里 Yeah, can you think of any? You know, I don't think in a globalized world we can find a country, no foreigners, no minority group. Every country will have minority group. But the one closest, we call approximates the nation-state idea. It's very difficult, huh? 李玉, Chen Zilin. Can you think of any? Japan. Okay, Japan probably the best one. Okay, even though in Japan, Ms. Chen, what kind of minority there? Do you know? Japan, of course, there are some Westerners there. Of course, some Chinese there, some Taiwanese. But the biggest one probably we call Korean. There are some Korean minority, but not. And then there is also this group in Japan, Ainu. Have you heard of this? In Hokkaido, they look like Europeans with a lot of hairs. Ainu. 虾夷族. Okay, very small minority. But Japan is the closest, okay, to a nation state. Now, do we have one people, one nation, but two states, two countries? 许晋什么徐脚鹏? Yeah, can you think of any country, one people, but in two countries? Huh? Korea? Okay, North and South Korea, right? So that's a possibility. You can think of Korea. You can also think of Hutu and Tutsi, one people in two countries. Okay, but they are not the same. They are two people in two countries. Okay, now can you think of one country having two particular one, two people here? I think we have Rwanda here, you know, Hutu and Tutsi. But can we think of another country that is famous for this? Wenwei Zhong. Yeah, can you think of any country? Like we think one country, two ethnic groups. Two groups. Would be easier for you to think of more than three? Yeah, can you think of one? Yeah, okay. America will be one state, but many people, right? Or we can use, can you give me a developing country? Wang Yuhong. Yeah, can you give me a developing country? One state, one country, but many people. China. China can be like that. What is the biggest minority in China? Hanzhu. That would be majority, I think. I don't think Han will be minority, right? Anyway, China, people said 94% are Han Chinese. But still, you have 6% minority. 6% is how much in China? Well, 90 million people, huh? 9,000万人. That's a lot. That's 4 times of Taiwan. Okay. Which one is the largest? Not Mongolian, okay. And not Tibetans, not Manchurian. 汉满蒙回都不在里头 ，OK， 不是蒙古啊 ，not Mongolian, not the Muslim in Xinjiang, or Uyghurs we call, okay. The largest minority in China where? Strong. 啊？啊？是这个状 ，OK？ 哎，不是这个状，土字啊，是这样子吧 ？OK？ in Guangxi, right? So that's the largest minority. Okay. So China can be part of it, but we can also put small countries here. Xu Zhenqi. Yeah. Can you think of a small country with a lot of different kinds of people? Africa would be too difficult, right? But can you think of an Asian country, small country, with different people? A country with Chinese, with Malay, with Indian. Indonesia, Chinese, Malay, and Indian. Okay, not a lot of Indian, but few. A small country. I don't think Indonesia is a small country, right? Singapore. Okay, so Singapore is also like this. But we want developing country. We're studying third world. So in addition to Rwanda, which other country here? One country, two different races. Just finished a civil war last year. The guerrilla group from the other ethnic group is called Tiger. You know, not a good year for Tiger. You know, the Tiger guerrilla group being eliminated in this country. Tiger Woods fall from grace, right? Tiger Wang injured. 2009, bad year for Tiger. But this year is Tiger year, so we don't know. Huh? Maybe they can rebound. But this, which country had the guerrilla group called Tiger? Qiu Wancheng. Yeah, which one? The one you get all the good black tea, Lipton tea. Lipton tea is like in English literature. Do we have an English major here? Who is the English major here? Gosh, no English major in this class. Yeah, we have one. Yang Wenting. Yeah. Okay. Do you understand initiation in literature? You know, like studying. Oh, you're not studying literature, but at least you read book. Like the kids suddenly grow up. They watch one thing. They learn the outside, the adult world. We call it 立顿. Suddenly, so where is 立顿 come from? Lipton. From Taiwan? No, I don't think so. Which country used to be called Ceylon, Ceylon. Orchid made of tin. Which country? Xielan. Sri Lanka. Okay, Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka has this Tamil people. Tamil, Tamil, and Sinhalese. Okay. So this is Sri Lanka here. So we have, you know, this, and now let's say, can we find one people spread in many countries? Ooh. Zhang Chunsheng. Yeah.
Can you repeat
one people, one race, but spread in many countries. More than 3, okay? Chinese, well, with Taiwan agree, I'm not sure. But Hong Kong is not a country yet, right? Singapore at least have some minority. Okay. But give me another one. That's too controversial. People here. People, where is my pointer? People, ooh. The Jews? How many countries? The Jews only have one country, and that country they even have to share with the Palestine. So we should put here, Israel here, right? One country, 2 people. But I'm talking about they are the dominant. Okay, this is what we call dominant people. Like, according to your theory, then we can say, oh, the Swedish also, they have, Swedish in Sweden, Swedish in America, Swedish in Finland. Okay, in Finland there is a political party called Swedish People's Party. But we can't. How about these people? Who are they? From here all the way here. Arabic people, okay? So Arabic people, you have one people, many countries. You can also talk about today, Somalia, is Somalia and Djibouti and Somaliland. That's 3 countries, okay? All Somali people. Somali people are also in Ethiopia, in Kenya as well. But at least they have, 2 countries there. Somalia might be here, we call Somalia. Somali people, okay? So the Korean, Arabs. Okay? Now, this is interesting. A country, there is one country but no people. Which country is that? That country doesn't have constitute people. Okay, so let's try this one. Yang Jingxiang. Yeah, which country? Which country? Like, every country we will give you a name, right? Let's say Israel. People is Israeli, right? People from Rwanda is Rwandan. People from Thailand is Thai. And then suddenly people from this country, people say, no, they are not. This is very difficult, but we have one in the world. Okay, let's try. How about this one? We have people here, one nation, but they don't have a country. Okay, that's easy, right? People don't have a country. Can you give me one? Palestine, they're having one now. They're getting one. At least they have one, recognized area. Some people, like people from here, from Iran, from Turkey, from Iraq, this group of people spread into 3 countries, they don't have a country. Or some people in Europe, people say when you travel to Europe, you need to be very careful because they are the, pickpocket. They're going to, steal something from you. They are the street peoples in Europe. Who are they? You've been to Rome, you go to Prague. You said, look, they are very team workers. You know, in Taiwan, we don't have good team workers. This group of people, they are very good team workers. They cooperate, they rob you, they steal you. When you cross the streets, who are these people? Anyone? Gypsies, right? Okay, the gypsy. Huh? So that gypsy will be one here. Group of people, but no country. Huh? What's the other one here I mentioned? In Turkey, Iran, and Iraq. Yeah. Can you think of? Or can you think of anyone else? Shaozhu in Taiwan. 啊，这样算不算？200 of them, right? I have one student who is a Shaozhu. Okay. But can you think of one race or one people, one nation that doesn't have a country? Israel, Jewish people for a long time, you know, for almost 2,000 years, they didn't, more than 2,000 years, they didn't have one, but now they do. What other country? What other nation? People here? Kurdish people, 库德族有听过吗？啊？ Okay. Who else can we find? Some people can also talk about, earlier I talked about the Basque people in southern France and northern Spain. Basque 族. Okay, different culture. Tibetan might be saying we want a country. They don't have a country. Right? So that's easy. But this one is difficult. So far, can anyone tell me we have one country in the world, but the people are not real people? Actually, we have diplomatic relations with this country in Taiwan. United Nations is not a country, though. Hey, wait a second. We are not even member of United Nations, right? I mean, I'm talking about we have diplomatic relation with this country.
Where is it situated?
Where? Yeah, Vatican. Oh, do you have people say, oh, I'm a Vaticanian, huh? I don't think, but we have, but they do have, they have ambassadors, they have ministers, they have government structure, right? Vatican here, right? In Italy. So, ideally, this will be very stable, right? Because one people, one country, right? Korea, you know, they always wanted to have this dealing with the North. One want to conquer the other. And sometimes you have two people, you have problems. Rwanda, Sri Lanka, all kinds of civil war. Israel, war with Palestinians. And when you have multi-people, maybe it's more stabilized. You know, you have to consider others. So the third world, especially, okay, in Africa, this idea of nation state does not apply at all. Okay, most countries, because of their colonial experience, wait a second, so last week, I think we went over some of this. I'll give you, blow up, what is it? This one? Okay. This is the one last week we discussed, right? We talk about the traditional approach. Those are the approach, especially look at the third one, okay? Legislature, political parties, elections, but our author said no, he's looking at different things. Okay, his approach is looking at the interaction of internal and external factors. Okay, so both. That's why dependency theory, the periphery, the core is very important. And also, he's looking at, the issues, democracy. We talk about democracy, democratization, and then economic growth and development, and then religious and ethnic minorities. Okay? In Taiwan, we have multi-religious belief in Taiwan, and very strangely, we do not have a religion problem in Taiwan. We have no religious war, we have no religious conflict, and we don't use religion so much, or we don't care. Okay? In other countries, for example, in the United States or in Europe, the government try to intervene. And then people will say, you have to have a separation of what? Church and state. In Taiwan, have you heard about this? When Su Zhenchang announced his candidacy for Taipei mayor in a temple, everybody felt it was okay. Nobody said it's wrong. When our president went to a temple to help something, nobody think it's an endorsement. 为这个宗教背书. We don't think that way. So we have no problem at all. Other countries said the government should not subsidize church schools. In Taiwan, every church school is subsidized by the government. No problem at all. So we don't have a problem with our church and state or with our different religious group. In other countries, Israel, Middle East, in Thailand, in Philippines, big problem. So that's the reason I think it's difficult for Taiwan, for you to imagine why religion can be a source of conflict. But that's so true in most countries in the third world. Ethnic problem, we have that right now. We have some very bad discrimination problem against our new immigrants as well. And then women's and human rights, this one in Taiwan, again, because our women students are doing so well, young professionals are doing well, so we don't consider a problem, but it is a big problem. Okay. Then natural environment. Okay. And important thing, I think we discussed this already about the third world, so we don't want to go over this one, but I want you to. This one is the one I asked you last week at the end. I said, what is the third world? This is what the third world do not have, right? Very important ideas. They don't have sustained level of economic growth. They don't have concern about redistribution of income, which is very important. Okay. Growth with equity. Remember Taiwan's model I gave you last week? Growth with equity, equitable distribution. You cannot have equal distribution. Equal means everybody the same, right? But equitable means reasonable. Okay, distribution. So you can. That will be very important as well. And then the third one is, regular election of representative government, not like Africa. You need to start that process every 10 years. Like, oh, another military coup, and let's try democratization again. Let's try election again. So we call ongoing democratization. Like the one I gave you last week, Ivory Coast. Our election has been postponed 8 years now. It's like, keep going. So that's a big problem there. And then human rights of some of the minority as well. But this is not just developing country, developed country as well. Recently there was a case in France about human rights about religion's right, about minority. Anyone know about the French case? Muslim in France wearing their veil in class. Can you do it? In Taiwan, do you think if we have students coming into my class, female students from the Middle East or from Malaysia wearing a veil, is it okay? Now, let me ask you, can she enter a bank in Taiwan? Huh? Right? In Taiwan's bank, people said, no safety helmets, right? No veil. Because who knows? She might be a he might be a robber, right? But that's her religious belief. So what do you do? How about the Jewish people with that little red head, on top? That's a religious. Okay. I can also claim religious. When I was high school kids in Taiwan, I said my religion forbid me cutting my hair. Do you think Taiwan's, the disciplinarians, 那些教官、训导主任会理你吗？ My religious reason, okay, I cannot do this, right? But that's human rights. Okay, religious rights are human rights. Okay, like in Taiwan, finally we call replacement services, but before we don't. So people say, I am against war. They said, sorry, you cannot be against war. You have to serve in the military. So I refuse. Okay, then I put you in jail. But I'm an honest person in jail. I'll be having parole and early release. And then I'm still young. They draft me again. So I said, I refuse. I said, put me in jail. So some really faithful religious believer served more than 20 years in jail. Okay, for refusing to serve in the military. So other countries said, you can serve in the military, but we will put you not in a combat duty at all. You don't have to carry the guns. You're in the military, you don't want to serve, you do not believe in war. What else can you do in military? How about cooking? How about cleaning? You can do cleaning, right? But I cannot believe this is what our military general told me. I said, why don't you allow those people to have the choice? If they happen to be in the Navy, they can rub the floor, right? 洗甲板嘛, every day. So how many people can pretend, to be a religious believer doing all that kind of work? But his response is that, what happens if everybody claims they are a religious believer? Then we cannot have real military. Do you think our boys always want to avoid combat duty? Don't you want to play with real weapons? I love the real weapons, right? I love some of the, work. But this is, again, big problem in terms of human rights. Okay? So third world country, a lot of that. And equal protection for women, we will talk about those, especially the WID and WAD, Women and Development and Women in Development. Okay, those two different concepts. So this is the big problem, and then now we're going to look at the developmental theory. Okay, so remember, core periphery. This dichotomy, these two things, is the dependency school. Development theory is basically believing it's like a math. Math, you have what? Linear algebra? 你们有学过吧？叫什么？线性代数啊？是不是叫线性代数 ？Linear. Okay. So developmentalist believe, okay, you will have a growth, you have transformation from traditional society to modern society. Every country is moving in one direction. Okay, so how much less traditional societies you have, how much more modern society you can have. So the more you have modern society, the less you have traditional society. Okay. So it's almost like traditional society is backward, especially it's feudalistic. Feudalistic. Okay. So poverty, and in a traditional society, it's not, everything is not based on merits, but based on relations. You know, based on that big word in China, GX. What is GX in China? 有没有人会这个绕口令？有关系就没关系，没关系就有关系。关系。Hey, this is a real world right now. You can check the dictionary. 关系 GUANXI 有关系就没关系，没关系就有关系 right? What is it? 郑一涵 Yeah, what is it? What is 有关系就没关系 Okay. And then it's not important. 有关系就没关系 No, it's not. Okay. 王维甫 Yeah.没关系就有关系 That's a typical traditional society. Okay, hey, we have to know our enemy. So know the Chinese more. You know, it would be better for you. Okay. So 叶子瑜 Yeah, what is 有关系就没关系，没关系就有关系。Okay, those two 关系, English word will be different, right? The first one is about connection. Then the second one is matters. So if you have connection, then everything will be fine. If you don't have any connection, then you are in trouble. Okay? So 有关系, if you have connection, you know, connection, then you're okay. 没关系. If you don't have connection, then you are in trouble. Okay, now that's typical traditional society, right? People will accuse, you know, why you got this job? Because, hey, the president is my father. That would be, we call, based on blood tie instead of merits, right? But isn't this unfair to just say this is a characteristic of the traditional society of the developing world? Do you think in the first world they don't have connection? Come on. Look. Thank God we have Obama last year, right? Otherwise we will have Bush, Clinton, Clinton, Bush. It's just their family. The two families are running in the United States, right? Bush, Clinton, Bush, almost another Clinton, right? And then he said another Bush is running, going to run. You know, the President Bush's brother, who happened to be a better Bush than him. So that's connection. In America, we also have another connection. What is it? If you graduate from Harvard University, your kids can also have priority over other kids. to go, there are certain amount of vacancy set aside for those alumni. The Chinese later said, wait a second, our father worked in the Chinese restaurant. It's too late. So Chinese create a new preference called sibling preference. If my brother went to Harvard, then I should have priority. Okay, just to try to make sure, because very difficult to compete. So that's connection. What else do we have connection? First world. You go to places, you find a mentor. That's also connection, right? What is a mentor? 中文怎么讲？恩师啊？什么？还有更好的翻译吗？ I remember there's another one. 导师，师傅，带你入门的师傅 mentor. Okay, that's also connection. So someone like me, who graduated from Furen University, right, coming back with a political science degree, and first of all, Furen University doesn't have political science department, so I cannot go back to Furen to teach. So I tried other university, but they said, "But you're not one of us." Right? So finally, I find this Institute of International Relations. They don't have students, just doing research. So no need for connection. Okay, so I got in because I recognize in NCCU, most of the new teachers are graduate of NCCU. Right? NTU, the same thing. Okay, that's connection. Very important. If you look at, is it traditional? Maybe. But in modern society also. So that's one traditional society against the other. And also, they assume, the developmentalists think the third world is a group. So they're all backward, they're all in poverty, low, what do we call? Life expectancy. Means they live to 40, 50s, not in the 70 and 80, lack of education, not a lot of urbanization, which is wrong, right? The biggest city right now are in the third world. If you still consider China, right? Beijing, Shanghai. What about Mexico City? Also Brazil. But, okay, let's get rid of those. How about Indian city? Also very big, right? Not just the first world. People think the third world must be agrarians, countryside. Not true. There are a lot of urban centers as well. So, very important idea is third world, very different themselves. But the developmentalist will think you are in one block. You just do what I do and you can have this linear growth. You have industrialization and then you have growth. Okay? So let's take a short break here. I'm sorry for the, I cannot hear. It's just too noisy. Okay? Again, third world. Okay. Look at the saying most government, number 3, the first part, saying most government try to increase the wealth. Okay. Is it good anymore? I'm not sure. Right? 34 years ago, there was a book called Small is Beautiful. 34 years ago, 1975, there was a book by Schumacher called Small is Beautiful. And nowadays, I think people are talking about small is beautiful. So this developmentalist, using the Western standard, American standard, like how many Cokes you consume each day, that can probably look at how developed you are. So America has the highest development because they consume the most Coke. How many of you really like Coke? With pizza, only with pizza. I only drink Coke with pizza, and I usually don't. But what are they saying here is Government is only interested in increase the wealth and productive capacities all the time. Okay. And then, again, some 30 years ago, there is a book called The Limits of Growth. Means you cannot just continue to grow. Every country is trying to be like America or Europe. Every country's per capita income is $40,000 or $30,000. That's not possible. But that's the developmental theory. They also talk about differentiation and complexity. Okay, differentiation, I think, is still work today, but more and more we are moving from this differentiation. What do you mean by differentiation? Song Ziqi. Yeah, you understand that word, differentiation? Different? Hmm? Yeah. So do you think a traditional society, people do not have a lot of differentiation? For example, if we are all farmers, and then everybody also grow vegetable, raise chicken and pigs, right? You do everything almost the same. Look at Taiwan right now. You know, in Chinese New Year, there's no differentiation. There's so much differentiation. We don't even do the cooking for the New Year's meal. You just order from 7-Eleven, right? So, and some of the central kitchen, they don't even cook for like every meal, every dishes, every course. What they do is, oh, I'm specializing for Tiaoqiang. Just produce all the for Tiaoqiang here. You know, the other kitchen produce Dongboro or something, right? So that's what we call differentiation. You know, differentiation means everyone having one role. But traditional society, we are wearing many hats. You know, we do this ourselves. You know, traditional society, you even spin the wheel. Do the textile, you weave, you make clothes yourself, right? You do your shoes. Nowadays, how many people know? My father used to fix umbrella. You know, like he knows how to fix umbrella. I mean, who wants to fix an umbrella today? You just discard it, right? So that's what we call differentiation. In traditional society, not a lot. Okay, not a lot of complexity means everyone is playing multiple roles at a time, but very simple job. It's not increasingly difficult. But in a modern society, it's different. Okay, and then gradually they develop this idea saying, oh, what do we mean by from tradition to modernity or modernization? You have to have certain stage you go through. Okay. So this Rostov came out with these 5 stages, right? So one is we call traditional society. That's the agriculture. First of all, let me ask you the word. Do you know the word farmer? Most of you know, right? Farmer. The farmer's wife, farmer. So what's the difference between a farmer and a peasant? Yin Jing Wei. Yeah, what is do you know the word peasant? Do you know the word farmer? Okay, what is peasant? Peasant is also farmer, but what's the difference? Yeah, okay, so peasants are landless farmers. So in other words, poor farmers are peasants. Or if you're a farmer in the first world, you're a farmer. If you're a farmer in the third world, you're a peasant. Okay? So China, we call peasants, but now they are having farmers. In Taiwan, we used to have a lot of peasants. Now we are all farmers. But third world, you look, it's all peasants, right? So traditional agriculture society or agrarian society, agriculture society, this is the traditional stage, right? Agriculture society, economy, and then you have a hierarchical social order. Okay, means everything is hierarchy. Hierarchy is like pyramids. Okay, this here is not even peasant. Peasants are here. These are serfs, probably. 奴隶. So that's what we call hierarchical society. Now, today, for example, in the universities, we still have some hierarchy, but I don't think we have the hierarchy that the president of the university can decide, saying, hey, my son just got his PhD. He wants to be a professor in Tsinghua. You think that will work? Probably not. His son will say, no, I don't know that guy. Right? That 关系 become 没有关系才好，才有关系，没有关系才没关系哈。In Taiwan, that would be a good modern society. Some of my friends say, Professor, my former student would say, can you write me a recommendation letter? I am applying for the job. I said, do you think you really want me to write? Because if I don't write, it probably would be better for you. If I write, someone said, oh, this guy knows Professor Yan. Right? Immediately. So that's what we call, it's in a society when the veto is not from one on the top. Then we want a non-hierarchical society. But traditional society, the one on top can veto everything, has decision power, that's hierarchical. Right? Deciding, not just, like in agriculture society, in Taiwan, the household can decide who gets what kind of land, which family, which household need to do something. And so all can be decided by one person. That's hierarchical. 这个叫什么？阶梯式啊，阶层 society. Okay? You have different groups also, in the society. Today we are all equal. But in traditional societies, who are on top? Of course, the emperor, the king, the aristocrats, right? In Chinese society, what's Confucius hierarchical society? 吕李元. Yeah. What is Confucius hierarchy? Who is on top? Scholar. Whew. And then peasant. And then what? Artisan. And then finally, traders. Wow. Do you know what I'm talking about? Confucius, scholars, peasants, artisans, and then traders. If you ask me, I will put peasant first, and then artisan. I think scholar and traders, they are not very productive. So, 士农工商, that's also hierarchy, right? So that's what we call hierarchical society. That's a traditional society. And then the second stage, according to Rostow, is we call the precondition to take off. Taiwan, I didn't know at least when I was your age or even younger, Taiwan, we always talk about taking off. 台湾起飞了. Okay. And then after some 30 years, I returned from the United States, found out we have a Minister of Economic Affairs, a lady who said Taiwan is taking off. I said, wait a second, we already took off 30 years ago. She said, oh, 台湾要起飞了. Okay, this is the female minister who served only 40 days, a record in Taiwan's government. 你们有没有听过这个女生？叫钟彩怡。做过经济部长40天。 Okay, but what is this takeoff precondition? Saying gradually a society began to have modern science, right? In agriculture, in industrial production. So suddenly, it's more productive. You have higher yield of grain, of rice grain or wheat. You have your pigs, is being fed well and being more productive. So those we call, the modern science. And then the economy became less self-sufficient. What do you mean by self-sufficient? Li Zhonghan. Yeah, what is self-sufficient? Okay, for example, your professor is famous for eating dumpling. Okay, I can go on 5 days with dumpling only. The 6th day, I'll make it a little bit different. I eat wonton. Okay. 我可以连吃5天水饺，第6天改吃馄饨啊。Okay, so now, if I am self-sufficient, which means what? I raise a pork, I raise a pig, right? And I also raise vegetable. I also grow wheat, and I make it into flour. I also, do all the, the dumpling skin myself, and then, cut all the, cabbage myself, and then I even have to slaughter the pig. Right? That's self-sufficient. Okay. But now we have all kinds of division of labor. So what is self-sufficient? Yeah. So what's the Chinese word? 自给自足. Okay, so that's a traditional society. Everything you need, you produce yourself, right? Gradually, you begin to have we call barter trade. Barter, B-A-R-T-E-R. What is barter trade? For example, I'm very good in raising pigs, but you are very good in raising cattle. So I'll exchange my pig with your cattle. 以猪换牛. Barter trade. What do we call this? 以货易货. 以物易物. Okay. 以物易物. Okay. 以物易物. Yeah, it's the same thing. 以物易物. Okay. 以物易物. Okay, so that's barter trade, right? Gradually, you begin to have more division of labor. And also, traditionally, it will be very localized, but gradually you venture out to other places, right? So this process of, beginning to have elite group. What is an elite? Qiu Yaxuan. Yeah, what is elite here? Do you know this word, elite? Not as slit. That's 成品. Okay, elite. Elite, it's like top people. 精英. Yeah, okay. So elite group of people gradually emerged. And in Taiwan, we used to call not just elite, but the middle class. Okay. And gradually this elite will invest to make not just for personal consumption, but elsewhere. So that's what we call precondition. You gradually become the economy. You have some industry, you have some agricultures that are becoming more complex, more sophisticated, and that's the precondition. And then you're taking off. Okay. So you take off. What is the characteristics of takeoff? First, look at the investment. Saying at least 10% of your income, okay, rises to at least 10%. Okay, investment as a proportion to 10% means you have extra left. Otherwise, you don't. Okay, in Taiwan, we have an agriculture society, and how do we have extra income to invest in industries? Okay, first of all, what happened in Taiwan? Some of you know the Taiwan history very well. You have been taught, Huang Yaping. Yeah. How did we get the money from agriculture to industry? This is where our former president Li Denghui got his PhD in Cornell University about agricultural economics. He talked about the capital, the money from agriculture to industry. How did the money go from agriculture to industry? How do we do it? Okay, first of all, in Taiwan, we do have what we call land reform, right? We have land reform, so the government subsidizes the landlords, and then compensate the landlord, so the the landlord move from owning the land instead of they are given money, so they don't have land now. They invest in industry. So that's a very important part. Secondly, in Taiwan, we artificially keep the farm, the agricultural product very low price, so people can afford to buy, and then allow those income to go into the industry. So this is a very important part in increase the increase the investment. But the second one is the one said the government is trying to focus on growth. Okay, you have to look at some of the countries that they don't want to have growth, like North Korea, like Myanmar, Burma, right? They just felt we want to be a self-sufficient country. China for a long time also as well. They rather have more peasants than intellectuals, because intellectuals stink, right? In China, 叫什么 intellectual 臭老九，发臭啊。Right. But peasants are virtuous. 农民最有美德了 right? So that's China's. So China was not in this developmental model, but Taiwan is. So we began to take off, and usually last 20 years. So if we said we're taking off in the mid-60s, we probably finish in the 80s. Then we are into the fourth stage, called drive to maturity. Means become a consolidation. 中文现在的股票叫什么？盘整。Okay, 盘整。Okay, consolidate. I think we call 巩固。So those continue, but very important is investment is high, and then we have political reform. So isn't that true? Also in Taiwan, we started to have democratization after 1980s, mid-80s, and then continue the economy. Also, we're able to compete internationally. Okay, that's we call the drive toward maturity. And then the last stage is we call the age of mass consumption. And this stage, okay, look at this. Wealth can be concentrated in individual consumption. Everybody has the money to buy, like in the US, or become like Western Europe, welfare state, or the third one, to build up global power, like Soviet Union. Now, so if we look at this, my question is, where is Taiwan? Huang Yaping, where do you think Taiwan is? It's in the fourth or fifth stage. Still fourth? We're not reaching the fifth stage? We're still 盘整，还在盘整。Don't you think we have 打转打了很久了？ we need to move up. I mean, but again, this is a bias. 这有偏见的。This is a Western model. You don't have to follow. So I would say, we just jump ship. We're not on this linear model anymore. We said we find another new path. 好不好？我们再找一个新的轨道。这个轨道 I don't like it. Why mass consumption? But you have to thank Americans for their mass consumption, because without them, our economy will not grow. Okay. If they are all like Europeans, then we have problem. Europeans wear a coat for 20 years. They want good quality coat, but they wear it for 20 years. In America, a coat lasts 20 months. Okay, because they want new stuff. Everything they want new. So they discard it. So you don't have to have good quality, because it's almost like, what am I doing with my vial here? Right? My students said, well, this look good. My assistant said, this has a, quality feeling here. Right? So it cost me $20,000 more. And this one was bought in 2004. So almost 6 years. How many people use a laptop for 6 years? No. After 2 years, you get rid of it. Right? In Taiwan, the same thing with the cellular phone. How many of you have a cellular phone for more than 3 years? You do? No? Oh, you have one. Okay. But with our consumption habit, we generate a lot, productivity. Right? That's American. I don't necessarily agree with that. Okay. Or we are not a welfare state yet. Okay. Being a welfare state like Europe is good, but also bad. Why? 周一杰. Yeah. How does Europeans support their welfare state? High tax. You know how much tax they have? Holland, the Dutch, 40% of your income went to tax. Okay. I went to Sweden, having a meal, street side, 路边的. Europe, 路边 is also a restaurant, right? 25% tax. Okay, but that's how they support. In Taiwan, I like our tax system. Not that bad. So, but this is the developmental. And remember the key word, linear. You just continue to move from this direction, right, to here. Maybe you suffer some setback, but you are supposed to go that direction. Okay. So, what's being criticized, this approach? Okay. First one is the people said it didn't talk about the differences among the third world countries. Okay. There are a lot of diversities, so you cannot just have one trajectory. Okay. So this is again a Tsinghua key vocabulary. Liu Peixuan, what is trajectory? Do you know this word? Here, where is that word? Trajectory. Here, trajectory. It's the path, 轨道 right? 走过的，这应该是你们清华的这个理工科的字嘛？你们的理工科怎么翻译 ？Trajectory。同学们怎么翻译？不知道，你们有学吧？这个字，物理里头应该有Very important word. We political scientists are just stealers. They steal all the terms, from psychology, from economics, from sociology, from anthropology, from even physics. Okay, trajectory. So not a single track. Okay, just like I said. You know, some people ask me, for example, like along the left and right, where are you? 什么政治光谱？有没有听过 political spectrum？ 政治光谱，台湾 is 统独different country like left and right. I said, I'm sorry, I'm three-dimensional. I'm outside this. Okay, so that's trajectory. Okay, so that's a big problem. The second one they criticize, again, is inter, not intra. Okay, they didn't emphasize the inter. What is inter? Wu Kai. What is inter? They fail to emphasize the interrelations, but concentrate on intra. Intra and inter, what's the difference? Intra and inter. Intra means inside. Okay? They only look at what you need to do within yourself. Okay, you need to get rid of the, the traditional hierarchical society. You need to have, modern science coming in. All those are what you need to do inside your country, but fail to talk about the international factors. So that's developmental. It's almost like, you just close and you do whatever they have done before. So that's the second criticism. The third one is they fail to analyze the cultural factors. Okay, they thinking every country is like the Western country. You just have to do this, but it's not the same. Okay, especially the cultural factors in the third world. So those are very important. Okay, let's stop here.